All right, so good morning, everyone. I'm here to walk you through how you can file your 1701A through Taxumo. So, this is the Taxumo website, www.taxumo.com, and then just press log in, of course, if you have an account, or sign up. No? So, I'll assume that a lot of you guys are new, so it's sign up. Let's try that. All right. Now you'll have to choose how you want to sign up. You can sign up with a combination, the old way of email and password, or you can use your Facebook account or your Google account. All right. For this case, let's go with Google sign up. All right. There you go. It'll ask for my last name and my first name. So we'll just go with that. Okay. It automatically gets it from Google as well if you log in via Google, and Facebook if you log in via Facebook. But you can change it. No? Do note that moving forward, when you sign up using Google, then essentially it's not email password combination. Okay, it's like through your Google account, so you have to be logged on through Google. All right. So when you initially sign up, this is Taxumo, and then you go through a little presentation of how it works. Okay, and now let's say that we want to get started. Let's get started. Now, let's say that you want to file your annual income tax. So what you do, of course, is you just press this one, proceed, and then you set this up with your details. So let's say my name is Taxumo de la Cruz, and my identification number is this one, 40th floor, Panorama Tower, 34th Street, BGC. Zip code is 1634. Now the RDO, for me, the closest would be Taguig. So let's use and then your contact number, of course. Oops. There is a format that you need to follow. And then your birth date. So let's say I was born in March 1 of 1990. And then your civil status, married. And the reason why we ask for this information is because, these are the fields that we'll actually be filling out for you automatically in your tax form. And then let's say I'm a professional, so I provide services. My income source it's either I'm solely from business or my profession, or it's mixed. So let's say I'm earning solely from my business. And then the line of business, let's say, for example, the nice thing about this is that you can just write any word and it'll select for you the appropriate industry classifications. So, for example, growing here, my growing of ground nuts, growing of root, bulb, and tuberous vegetables, etc. So let's say that I'm a virtual assistant, I'm a freelancer online, and I want to provide basically other services, other service activities. Now let's say my deduction method is OSD. Now we do have articles about what OSD and itemized deduction are, so just feel free to search for them in our FAQs and in our blogs. But for the current functionalities of our annual income tax filing, it's either your optional standard deduction or your 8% as shown through your alphanumeric tax code. So let's say I'm earning from my profession, I'm a freelancer, and I'm earning 8%. My taxpayer type is I'm a professional. And the BIR registration date this is basically when, the start date of the forms that you want us to display. So if you put 2001 here, we'll display all the forms since then. I would recommend that you only display the forms that you actually need. So for example, for us, it would be since, let's say, January 2019. And these fields are optional. Then we click proceed. All right. So once that's set up, it'll ask you, now Taxumo will present some options for you. This is actually a way to save if you are filing regularly in Taxumo. because how Taxumo works is that we collect every time you file. We charge every time you file. So you could actually pay up front, and it'll be a lot cheaper for you because you will also be able to use Taxumo as your books of accounts. This is normally a 15,000 peso additional feature, but it's going to be given for you for free if you pay up front, basically. So let's say for now, I only want to do my annual income tax filing, so I'm going to skip this for now. So this is the cash flow view. This is the main view of Taxumo, and here you can see that these are the cards, or these are the taxes that I am supposed to file given the types that I selected a while ago. So you'll see here that I can already file my annual income tax. If I'm earning purely from business and profession, if I want to pay via the 8% flat income tax rate, or I want to pay via the optional standard deduction method, then I can use this form already. So what's 8%? Basically, that is your gross income. You multiply that by 8%. That's your tax payable. OSD, on the other hand, it's basically telling the government that 40% of your income is going to be your expenses. If you remember, how we compute income tax is we first deduct all your expenses from your income, and then that's your taxable income, which we then apply to the table. So if you're using OSD, basically what you're saying is that just deduct 40% of my total income, whatever's left, apply that to the table. Okay, so you're telling the government 40% is essentially expenses. Okay, that's optional standard deduction. If you're filing via that, so a lot of professionals, a lot of services, especially those that don't have a lot of goods or a lot of expenses, this is like the best options for them. All right. I'm overgeneralizing for sure, but of course, that's an easy way of explaining things. But if you're that, then most likely these methods will be the best for you. Now, if you're doing that, you press this button, File Now. And when you file now, it now takes you to the wizard for filing your annual income tax. Okay, now let's go through this one by one. There are 3 screens here with a few questions per screen, okay, per view. Now, the first question here is excess credits from the previous year, 1701. Basically, what it means is that if you have any excess credits, meaning if you have any negative value, if what you filed the previous year was a negative value for your annual income tax, then that's something that you can carry over to this year. Of course, you should have also selected that you wanted it to carry over. Okay? If you did that, then you can carry it over. If this is like the first time you're filing, then you can leave it at 0. Okay. Now you'll see here that there are fields that pertain to previous quarters. So you'll see here, these are the income tax payments paid since start of the year. So that would most likely be from Q1 to Q3 of the year. And tax withheld for the previous quarters. Okay, so this is from Q1 to Q3 of the year. Now, if this is the first time you're filing in Taxumo and you have withheld taxes for Q4, what you can do is enter those withheld taxes. When I say Q4, that would be October, November, and December. Alright, so if you have any 2307s from your clients for those months, you enter them here manually in withheld tax and receive. Okay? So it's pretty simple. You just add the record and then you enter the fields as they appear in your 2307. Okay? By doing this, we would be able to use that in computing your 1701A payable. Okay? Aside from that, if you have any income and expenses for October, November, December as well, you enter them here in the cash flow view. Okay? But let's say you don't have any, or let's say you've already entered, then you can proceed with filing. Alright, so now income tax payments paid since start of the year, basically if you file your Q1 to Q3 outside of Taxumo, then just total up all of the payments you've made and then put that sum here. Okay, so let's say, this is the first time I'm filing, so it's 0. And then tax withheld for previous quarters. Now, this basically means that if there was any 2307s received from January to September, okay, so from Q1 to Q3, then instead of entering them one by one, you can just enter the sum here. All right, so let's say I have a total of 12,000 here, okay, and revenue for the whole year. Now, if you entered any data in Taxumo, this would be automatically filled up, but you can also, of course, update this. No, let's say, for example, that you earned, let's say, 1.2 M for the year, okay, for the whole year. So next, the fields now are the following: non-operating income for the whole year. Now what this means is that if you have any income that doesn't really come from your operations, then you enter it here. Most likely it's going to be zero, so you can leave it at zero. Previous payment if this is an amended return. Okay, so what this means is that if you filed a 1701 for 2018, okay, previously, meaning you're just filing again. Let's say you forgot to include some income or you forgot to include some expenses or 2307s, then just enter the amount you paid in the original filing here. Okay, so let's say this is the first time filing, so I don't have any. And then, portion of tax payable allowed for installment. So what you're selecting here is how much of the tax payable you want to pay on a later date, which would be July 2019. Alright? So let's say that I want to pay, let's say, 20%, no? Or on July 2019. Then what happens is that, let's say my total payable is, for example, 100K. Then that means I only pay 80K now because the 20K is payable later on July 2019. So that could go up to 50%. Alright? So let's say I want to pay everything, so I'm going to select 0%. And then if you had any discounts, you enter it here, sales returns, allowances, and discounts. Now, if you entered your income and revenue net na of any discounts or anything, then this would still be zero. You know, you don't have to enter those discounts and returns and allowances anymore. Okay? But otherwise, if you entered, like for example, your revenue is 100 pesos, but actually you gave a 10 peso discount, then you would enter that discount here. Alright? But if you recognize that revenue as 90 pesos, then you don't need to enter that discount anymore. Alright? So this is just a field for that. To make things simple, a lot of people would just leave this zero. Alright? Since they recognize just the cash value anyway. Now lastly, in case you have any overpayment, you also have to select how you want that overpayment to be handled. If you want it to be refunded or to be issued, if you want to get a tax credit certificate for it, then there is a separate process that you need to follow to get the refund or the tax credit certificate. The simplest would be the last one, to be carried over as tax credit. So what that means is that when I file the next year, I can carry over that value basically that I overpaid. Okay? So with those answered, I can now proceed. And this would be the computation of my tax due. Okay, so for my 1.2 million, I would only be paying 64,000. All right. If you're okay with this, if this is all good with you, this is all based on the new train laws, all of the new tax income tax computations. So this is all accurate. So once you're all good, just proceed to checkout. And then what will happen is you will now choose the gateway that you want to use for this payment. So you'll see here the gateway fee changes depending on which gateway you choose. So for example, I want to use online banking. If you have a coupon, you can enter it here. Now you pay. Alright. And then for the particular option that I chose, we do it via the Dragon Pay payment channel. Alright. So let's say I want to pay via Union Bank. And let's say I want to test using this one. Taxumo test. Oops. Select that. Alright, and then this is your reference number, this is the amount you have to pay, and then you can send the instructions via email. Alright, there you go. And now, it's tax payment pending. If you go to your past filings, you'll see here that the filing that you made is still unpaid. Alright, so you have to go through the payment procedure to get it paid. You open your Gmail to that account, okay, that you just entered, and these are the payment instructions that were sent by DragonPay. DragonPay will send a link with the detailed instructions, so just click on those instructions. And then you'll see here the procedure that you'll need to follow. Okay? You go to log into there, pay your bills, etc. Now, one thing to remember is that depending on the payment channel or the bank that you chose, sometimes there is a separate step wherein you need to do a verification step. You need to enter the reference number, etc. after you've paid. Okay? With Union Bank, it's all straight. You just do the payment and you're done. But with other payment channels, there is that step. So you have to make sure you read this carefully. Once you've completed this, the Taxumo payment here, the past filing, will now be tagged as in progress. So what that means is that the next steps are with us. You don't have to do anything, and your 1701A will be filed by Taxumo directly. All right. And that's it. That is how you file a 1701A through Taxumo. It's very easy. It takes you at most 10 minutes, but probably less, if you already have the data at hand. And with that, thank you so much for watching.